You are listening to the Novel Writing Podcast, episode 38. Grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. Today's episode is the 34th of 60 daily episodes that pair with the videos from Haley's 60-Day Novel Writing Challenge. You can watch the first 5 days of the challenge for free on Haley's YouTube channel, and the link to that is in the description. Day 34 of the challenge is about writer's block. If at any point during or after the challenge, when you sit down to write and the cursor blinks on the screen in mockery of your imagination, I have a few ways to work through it. First, and most important, is to disrupt your state. That means to stand up if you're sitting, to move around, to take a walk, go on a hike or a run, change your scenery, do something that's not sitting in front of the computer, wishing that the story would just write itself. Second, talk to your characters. Write them letters. Have them write you letters. Have them write letters to other characters that other authors have, which we call pen pals in Professional Premium. Ask your characters why they're doing what they're doing, why they're stumped, maybe what they think you should do, where they would like the story to go. Be creative. Third, leave the last sentence you write unfinished. Now this could go two ways. One, it lets you pick up where you left off and finish a line or a thought that leads into the next thing, and then the next thing, so you basically solve the writer's block for yourself ahead of time by not finishing the last thing you wrote. But two, you could forget where you were going with that line. So use this method carefully, based on what you know about yourself and your tendency to forget or remember things. Fourth, brainstorm with fellow writers or a trusted person in your life. I talk a lot to my husband about my book series. In fact, when I was still writing book one, he helped me solve a huge problem that loomed over the entire rest of the series in one conversation. It was pretty brilliant. And while I don't agree with all of his suggestions, he's a sounding board for story ideas and can help me remember where I was taking certain characters or story arcs. It also helps to just talk about the story out loud with someone because it helps you understand it better as you talk about it, and the conversation around the story can spark new ideas and give you new places to go with the writing. This often happens with my one-on-one clients. They might come to a session to work through a character decision with the coaching model I use, and then we end up having a conversation about that character's personality and how that plus all the other characters' personalities would lead to situations that may or may not cause more problems for the characters down the line. And those ideas don't often pop into being until they're talked about out loud. We also do this in Professional Premium with brainstorming sessions. If you've got writer's block about something and just need some ideas to bounce around, those calls are the perfect place to do it. Fifth, give yourself a set amount of time to indulge in the writer's block, and then just write. It doesn't matter what. It could be free-flowing thought, it could be journaling, rewriting ideas that you've already written before, writing scenes from alternate points of view, writing different versions of the scenes, write fan fiction. It doesn't even have to be your own fan fiction. Just write. The act of writing lets the words flow. And the more words that flow, the more ideas that come to you. And soon the flow of words will worm right through the block and onto the page that you've been staring at in desperation. And sixth, this is a tip that I use all the time, is to write out of order. If I get stuck on a scene, I go to a scene that I've been wanting to write, or expand on a scene I already wrote, but it could use some fleshing out. I bounce around all the time. And that just means smoothing out the transitions later. But overall, it takes less time for me to finish a draft if I let myself be okay with jumping around and fixing the gaps afterward, rather than forcing myself to write it from beginning to end. Especially when, for my third book, I'm dealing with two completely different planets and different time streams, and that makes for a weird situation where I need to basically write two stories in the same book, but have them come together at the end. But that's a problem for a different time. That's it for this companion episode to Writer's Block. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow for day 35. Thanks for listening to the Novel Writing Podcast. If you're ready to stop struggling and start finishing your novel, check out the 60-Day Novel Writing Challenge. It's a step-by-step program designed for solo writers to complete their first draft with clarity and focus. Visit the link in the description to learn more.